Okay, so Ben or James just put a link up there. Anyone who's not already in the Discord group, if you jump in on the Discord group there, that's where we chat and we talk about our trades, what we do. So here is the Discord. This is the Discord. So this here is the free group. So this here is what we're talking about. Oh, we're actually anyone who is interested. Naga are actually doing a deal, so they've done a partnership with Seville FC. Now, myself and Ben are going. They're bringing us over to Spain to watch one of the games. So anyone who is interested, Naga are bringing 3 lucky people, so it's all expenses paid. So your flights are paid, your hotel is paid, everything is paid. And if you're interested, DM me and I will chat to you about it. So there is only 3 places. I've had a few inquiries about it so far. If you go in here, this is the beginner's chat room. So this is where people are talking about stuff in Trader Stream. So this is where people are chatting about whatever trades and stuff, so on. Anyone who then is on the advanced chat room, anyone wants to jump in on the advanced chat room, then this is the chat room. So this is my personal one. So this means then this is the stocks. This is what we're looking at today, so on and so forth. Then we have the analysis screenshots. This is where I don't want massive writing here on this one. This one is just sort of screenshots what we're looking at, because what's happening are people are missing trades, because in the stock room people are missing trades. So this is just more so a couple of words about what you're actually trading. A screenshot popping up there. We have the crypto chat room, and then we have the forex chat room. So we have loads of stuff there, and then you have the announcements. So the webinars, I do webinars every Sunday and every Wednesday, and we have links to them there. And then the last one then is Henry's trades. So these are trades that I have taken. Some have been good, some have been bad. This year we're up quite handsomely on the likes of these CFDs. So most of these will be CFD trades. I will take underlying assets. So the last 2 underlying assets I took here was Nike and eBay. So we can actually see the trades that I've taken and why, and you can just make them bigger. And then the rest is managing trades. And then we on Sunday I put up the stocks and the strength and weakness matrix. So that's the chat room. So if anyone is not in them, let me know. If you want to reach out to me directly, you reach out directly, and I can get you in on them, and we can take it from there. I'm interested in NAG event. Well, Kashi, I did state it in the post. You have to text me. You have to reach out to me, because there is only 3 spaces. So we'll just quickly go through Tesla, because Tesla has been one of the ones that we've been talked about on the likes of the chat room. I've posted it a little bit. I wanted to sort of make sure you sort of understood what's going on here. So if I get a horizontal line, pop it up here, we have a ceiling there at $899. Okay, so there are a couple of things sort of gone on here with Tesla. They have their earnings. So they have their earnings coming out on the 20th, which is tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow the earnings are coming out. Their estimated earnings is 1.59. So if we just pop this up here, we can put it into perspective. So the Q3 last year, their earnings were expected was 0.56. So that's a 200% increase in their earnings in a year, okay, expected in the same quarter. All right, but if we look at this, then it was 1.1, then it dropped back down to 0.77, up to 0.96. So this is a huge jump. This is a huge jump in earnings. Now, when we look at the units being sold, the units being sold has actually gone up. So it means that they have actually had a record quarter so far. I think it was 241,000, 100,000. units that were actually sold. So we've had a pretty big jump there in expected earnings. We also had at the end of the month, crypto was at about 50K. So again, that is up higher than it was when they purchased it. So all things are looking pretty good here that they will have a bumper earnings, but obviously we cannot guarantee it. And the last thing then, and the only negative is that the Shanghai operation has stalled. It's not, they're not doing any production there. So with the tension with China, that's what's going on here. Now, so with all this coming up, do we think Tesla would be something that we should buy today with earnings tomorrow in mind? In your opinion? How you getting on, Mario? So I've had yes, no way, no, yes, nope, not at all, no, 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 no chance. Why not? Why are we not expecting Tesla? Well, look, the earnings are good. Well, they've produced more cars than they've ever done before. Their quarter expectation is up. The crypto that they invested in is up. Everything is telling us that this is going to be a bumper quarter, isn't it? Also, I don't know how much it would have affected in Q3, but with the oil crisis, I'm not sure when that would have. I don't think it would have affected the end of the last quarter, but electric vehicle inquiries has gone up by 400% since the beginning of the fuel prices. Okay, so someone has said, don't trade on rumors. Okay, James, well, you've got that massively wrong. What you trade is a rumor, and you get out on the actual news. That's the actual saying. You trade the rumor, and you get out on news. Elon's a bit of a DICK. Stuart, get off the fence there, will you? So the idea is that I didn't say the word because it's going on YouTube and it'd probably get flagged. So the idea here is that the move was actually already gone. So look at the momentum here. People are just jumping on this bandwagon. So the idea is that the bandwagon has already started. There's loads of people on this already. It is one of the things is already gone. We are very close to an all-time high here. Now, the thing is that Tesla is one of the most traded stocks in the world. Okay, it has had an implosion of traders and investors. So not only traders from this particular point here. So see this sideways movement here. This is from this particular point here when he did his sort of show about the armored car. All of a sudden, it just took off, absolutely skyrocketed. So there's a lot of momentum behind this. Now, will people just jump in? Literally because they see green bars here, I expect it. And with the news, will it pop back up? It depends on how much strength we have in the general members of the public. But if I'm a hedge fund, if I'm a fund manager, if I'm a hedge fund, I'm looking to short the market at this particular point. I'm looking to short the market at that point. I'm not looking for huge gains to the upside unless earnings are absolutely smashed out of the water. If the earnings come in, they're at say estimated £2 per share. So they're looking at 1.59. If they come in at £2 a share, then absolutely this is going to continue skyrocketing. It's going to go up like an actual rocket ship, one of his ships. But If it's not like that and it's on par or slightly below or slightly above, I would expect the funds to actually short this here. And I would expect a pretty decent short on it. And then the next wave of buyers then to jump in. But I would expect it to break this high. Everything for Tesla is going well at the minute. And with the fuel crisis, I actually expect Q4 to be even better again, in my opinion. But also it will have a factor in the likes of what crypto is doing. Does anyone disagree with anything I've just said there? So depending on what comes out tomorrow, I would expect today to be a potentially buying day and get quite close to hitting this ceiling. And then potentially if it's on point or it's around the actual price, I would expect the market then to drop. I'd expect the short sellers to jump in. I'd expect the funds to jump in and actually short the market here. But yeah, I expect this to continue running. If it's much higher than say 20%. Okay, good. Hadn't planned on the Tesla, but it worked out that way. So let's have a look at BTC. Coinbase. Yeah, we'll pick that one. Okay, so we've had a pretty big run on the likes of this as well. And we can see that there is that record high, isn't it? So we have a little bit of room for this to go. We have a little bit of room for this to go. Now, there are a couple little things that we have to sort of keep an eye out on in this particular area. We don't want to get caught with our trousers down. And that's what happens with traders. The amount of people who've jumped in here now on fear of loss on this run is phenomenal. That okay, it's going. There's a futures contract that's come out, an ETF, and they're expecting it to hit 100,000 from the likes of the ETF. But again, it's just an extra. It's an extra driving force on the likes of this. It's an extra thing. It adds an extra little bit to it, but it's not going to be the driving force behind this hitting 100,000. Now, when we're looking at the likes of this, we have to take into consideration what has happened historically. Okay, what has happened historically. So when we look back at what has happened at these highs, okay, historically, we can then sort of anticipate what's going to happen here. Now we can see at this historic high back here in 2017, December, it went back up and it hit here and it dropped pretty dramatically, didn't it? So if I, well, delete. So if I bring this chart over here and actually zoom in and make this a little bit bigger, drag that up, we had a pretty dramatic drop here at this particular point, didn't we? It went from 19,800 down to 16,100. Okay, so we had a pretty dramatic drop on the likes of that. Now, again, there's no other proper ceilings since then, because this has just continued to run. It's continued to rally right up to the 64,000 mark again. Now, this is very, very similar to what we saw on Tesla. Very similar to what we saw on Tesla. Now, would we be, just as a show of hands, would we be more bullish on Tesla or Bitcoin? So I'll put B for Bitcoin or T for Tesla. And which one would be more bullish on? C, none. J, welcome to the party. So we out of all the people online, we only had 3 people who've said Tesla. and this is the difference. But why is everyone so bullish on Bitcoin? Bitcoin hasn't got any earnings coming out. You can't get the physical entity. It's literally comes down to supply and demand, doesn't it? It comes down to supply and demand. And at the minute, there is more buyers in the market than sellers. It comes down to hype. It comes down to what's going on. So is there an opportunity for people to sell this? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a huge opportunity for people to sell this. So I would expect some sort of a bounce on this. But we may not get a bounce on this. We may not. If a whale jumps in here and drops another huge buy there, this is going to absolutely smash through that area. But I'd expect a few sells or a few funds who have a shorts at this particular point and actually looking to short the market. So there is a huge potential for this to potentially drop. But again, it's similar to the likes of Tesla in the sense that it's almost at a record high. It's hitting one of those ceilings. Crypto is bigger than Apple on market cap comparison. Yeah, but you're trying to compare apples and oranges. They're two completely different assets and shouldn't in any way, shape, or form be compared. And it's like saying, well, okay, well, if you want to compare Bitcoin to US dollar or to the foreign exchange market. The foreign exchange market cap dwarfs Bitcoin. Or then do we compare, say, the bonds to the likes of foreign exchange? Bonds absolutely dwarf the likes of foreign exchange. So they're completely different asset classes and shouldn't be compared in any way, shape, or form. So just be aware of that. We should be comparing apples and orange and orange. We shouldn't be comparing two completely different assets. Okay, it's just the understanding of it. So it may hit its head and come back down. There's two possible scenarios in this, and this is the beauty of trading, is that if you're a short seller, you can look into this and we can be looking to short the market on this. So if it hits this area, you'd be looking to short it. If you're a buyer, you're looking for a completely different scenario. So if you're a buyer, you're looking for this scenario. Now, if you're a buyer in this market, you're looking for this to go up to there. And then you're looking for this to come down to there, to retest. Okay, and that's the beauty of trading, is that we can't guarantee which scenario is going to play out. I have no idea. But what we can do is we can set ourselves up. We can set ourselves up in these levels, in these areas. But if it comes back to here, we're looking to buy it. If it comes back to here, we're looking to buy it. If it comes back to here, you then have an opportunity to take a short. But again, I wouldn't be taking a huge short on that. I'd be risking only 1% of my capital. I'd be making sure that I have a broker that uses leverage and that I can put a pretty tight stop loss on it. So making sure that if it continues going up and I was completely wrong, that I'm not left holding a huge lump of a CFD trade that is going in the opposite direction. Now, will it come back to this level? It may not. There are other levels around here, so it may come back into this area. But it's all recent. But so this one here for me is the most recent level. It's the most key level. But again, it may come down here to a double bottom. When we get these phase twos on these crypto, they're generally quite big. So which scenario do you think is going to happen? Is it A or B? Which of these do you think is going to play out? Continue going up, or do you think when it hits the 64,800 is going to drop? Be interesting to see what most people are thinking. Good. So there's a lot of people undecided. So a lot of people undecided. Good. So that's actually a pretty decent answer, undecided, because if we're undecided here, we stay out of the market. This is not somewhere where we're looking at. What do you think predictions people have made when it hit the 24? Well, historically, when it hit the 24, we were expecting it to drop again. Again, I've no idea. And if we look back, the 20,000, when it hit the 20,000, it dropped back down to 16. So 19,000 dropped back down to 16. So we had a pretty decent pullback. So I would expect some sort of a pullback. If I'm looking at trading wise, I'd expect some sort of a pullback back to here. But again, no. And what do you think of people predicting it coming back to here? I don't think so. I don't think it'll come back to there. But again, we're talking about probabilities. What's the probability of it coming back to that level? For me, pretty low. To me, pretty low. Of coming back to that 30,000 mark again. At the minute, there's momentum. I think there's more probability of it breaking this high than it is coming down here. We have bullish momentum. If we look at this, there's no slowing down on the bars. It looks like it's going to break through it. It depends on whether it will come back to the 52 mark. It may even only come back to, say, the 60 mark, which is here, and then kick off again. But the minute we have a drop back, I expect a lot of people to start loading up on this again. I expect people to start loading up on it. And when they start loading up on it, would expect the market to eventually break through that. So at the end of the year, we could be quite close to the 100,000 mark by looking at the chart here. Now, am I making that prediction? Absolutely not. But looking at the likes of this, it could very well be. We look at December 150K. Can you tell us much about the Bitcoin ETF? I don't know much about the Bitcoin ETF. I now know there's an ETF out there, and depending on what platform you're on, you can actually purchase it. It's the same as every other ETF. Just buy it and hold. So I don't know much about it. Now, ADA, that's the market cap. Great. That's also market cap. Ethereum. And Matic. I'm assuming Shiba is also market cap, absolutely. Market cap again. Again, market cap. Okay, so Cardano. Cardano is, I'll pull up eToro. Actually, it's easier. It's much easier to pull it up and show you on the likes of that. Can you please look at Baba too? Baba Black Sheep, have you any? Cardano chart. Okay, so this one has been sitting pretty flat, pretty sideways. It hasn't really moved in the last couple of weeks. Now, if we expect the likes of Bitcoin to continue going, the likes of these other coins, they will take off again. They will take off again. It's literally once the altcoin season sort of takes over, once everyone has sort of finished with the run on Bitcoin, they're now looking at value into the other altcoins. This is the time where we should be buying up the likes of these. This is the time where we should be investing in the likes of these. Because once the likes of the novelty wears out with the likes of Bitcoin, people are then jumping into all these other altcoins looking for value. And this one, not so much. It needs to come down a little bit further for it to have value. But again, there is a moment we can trade this. Matic. That won't come up. Bear with me. Again, there's a lot of room for this to hit the record high as well. Horizontal. About there. So there's a bit of room for this still to go before it hits this high. So there is some nice value in some of those altcoins. At the moment, Litecoin has sort of been one of those forgotten in the last run. There is, what's that? There's 120% for this to hit a record high. Okay, so there's loads of room in this one. This one has sort of been the one that's been sort of left behind, the one that people have sort of moved away from in the last couple of say last 6 months to a year. So metaverse games are being built on Polygon, and I think Matic has a lot of potential. But again, it's one of these things. If you think there's potential in it, you sort of hold on to it. The thing with the likes of these cryptos is that some of these cryptos will be incorporated. They will become use cases. There will be reasons and how we can actually value them, how we use them. But at the present moment, there's not. It's like this is very similar to the introduction of the internet. We knew the internet was going to be huge, but we didn't know how. We didn't know how we're going to monetize. We didn't know what was it going to be. We didn't know any of that. Okay. And the same with cryptocurrency. We don't necessarily know where the end goal for any of these cryptocurrencies are yet. But there will be some sort of end goal. And the idea is that hopefully we have at least one of them that takes off. If we're lucky enough to have one of them and we got in a semi-decent area, then there's huge potential for us long term. But it's trying to pick which one is the correct one. Is this one that I would be investing in at the minute? No. But there is a bullish setup on it here at the moment. Down here, have a look at it. There is a bullish setup here at the moment on this. Can anyone tell me what that is? What that setup is? Can people tell me what that is? Perfect. Yes, it is an ascending triangle. Okay, so this is, it hit its head, come down, hit its head, come down. But if we look at this, these lows are getting higher. So it looks like there's more momentum to the upside here, which would indicate that there is more momentum. Now, these these sort of setups are really relevant in crypto. The likes of triangles, they are really common in the likes of crypto world. And look, here's another one right there. And I understand it's very easy to see this after the event, but there was another one. Floor once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, didn't quite come back to it. But if we look at a descending triangle and then a pop to the upside, it's a matter of whether we can spot these things going on. Okay, and that's one of the big sort of indicators that a market is going to take off, is when it keeps hitting this floor and then the floor, and then it takes off to a bull run. But again, a cup and handle is my favorite. But again, we have loads of areas where we can trade. Like you've come in there, a cup and handle is your favorite. We also have ascending triangles. We also have head and shoulders patterns. They all come up here. They all come up here on the likes of crypto. Yeah, Renata, she loves them, all right. So I'm gonna go into a little more of commodities now. So this is something that I wanted to have a look at. We haven't done a proper commodity section in a little while, and I wanted to just sort of run through these. Okay, before I actually do that, I'm going to run through BABA for you guys just before I run into commodities, because I won't be able to go into any other sort of stocks before that or after that. So BABA is just one of these ones that has just tumbled, continued to drop. We have at the moment, it has hit this sort of floor. Now, when we're trading the likes of this, so I got a request, Henry, how do you know when you should be trading the likes of an underlying asset versus something that should be a CFD? Okay, now for me, the big thing in all this is when we're trading the likes of this is, for me, is what's the index doing? For me, that's the big one. That tells me what's overall happening here. So if we analyze what China's after doing, so China index, we can see that it had a massive bull run, it had a huge drop, and it's now bottomed out. Okay, it's now bottomed out. It's bounced. It's now at a point where it looks like there's a little bit of bullish momentum on it. Now, there is a small sort of level there. It's not something I would trade off of, but there is a small level there, a break and retest, which break and retest right there. So there is a trade on that right now, this second. Is it the highest probability trade in the world? No, not at all. Not at all. But is that trade valid? Absolutely. Entry there, stop loss below it. And you're looking for this to take off. We've had a phase 1, phase 2, phase 1, phase 2. So this looks like we've had bullish momentum. It looks like we're now slowly starting to turn the corner. Now, when we look at this, if we look at the highs here, and I measure from where we are today, so where we are today up to this high, we have a 30% growth on this. With 30% growth, so there's loads of potential on this particular indice to turn. You may want to jump into the ETF. Cassie, what's the ETF that you trade on this particular asset? I can't remember off the top of my head, but this then also this CQQQ. Okay, so this then comes into consideration. So if we look at CQQQ, we have this double bottomed. It's double bottomed and now slowly starting to look to the upside. Now it's not identical to it because it doesn't have every company that's in it, It's slightly different, but the idea is we had that big drop and we're now looking for it to go. Now, so when we're looking at the likes of BABA or any of those sort of things, it has now come down to the bottom and we've had a little bit of momentum to the upside. We've had a little momentum to the upside. If I pop in here, do I have BABA here? Probably not. Earnings is also coming out on the 29th of October, so on 10 days. So if I have a look at the likes of this and see what I've done historically and what's expected, okay? So Q2 last year was 2.3 and they ended up bringing in 2.6, which was a 30% jump. Okay, this one is expected 1.59. Now, what I would do is I do a little bit of research on the likes of this and find out is the earnings on this expected to be good, bad, or indifferent. Okay, so the estimated earnings has dropped a little bit from the same Q last year, and that's not massively, just slightly, but are the earnings coming in on point? Are analysts expecting it to be good, be bad? And this would be something that you could potentially buy or short in that matter, depending on what we're expecting to happen here. So this will be a huge turning point in the likes of Alibaba, that if the earnings is bad, we'd expect this to drop. Okay. So just keep that in mind. That is a big thing if we're looking to invest in the likes of this. But this could be the beginning of the upside for the likes of these and China for that matter. So oil. So oil has continued to skyrocket, and it is no surprise. We as traders are begging for it to come back, and that hasn't changed. We still want that to drop, and to drop back to that 76.59 level. We have to have that. We have to have that pullback. For me, we have to have that pullback. Now, if you're someone who has taken 3 or 4 trades out of this, you can drop down to the smaller time frame and look to be trading. There's loads of opportunity there on the smaller time frame. Breaks and retest. When it comes back, you trade it. Look at it here. Pop that up there. Break, retest. Could have taken that there. Winner. There's another break and retest that happened there. Also, you would have got a 1-to-1 if you had taken that trade. And if we look at the measuring tool, entry there, stop loss there, which is 0.8, up to the high here was 1.1. So there's a 1-to-1 there in that one as well. So the idea is that we're looking to, if you're looking to trade it, you're looking to trade it on the smaller time frames. You're looking for it to come back to these areas, and if it comes back to those areas, you can then trade it. But is it a high probability trade? No, you're jumping in a momentum, and if this momentum continues, you're onto a winner. But the problem at the moment is we need some sort of pull. We need this to stop. We need this to have some sort of a breather, so that we can then jump in and jump and go on again. So the next one is gold. We're going to run through most of the commodities over the next 20 minutes. Some of these you will have seen before. Some of these you will not have seen before. Some of these are absolutely lovely trades, and some of these will not be lovely trades. Now, if we look at the likes of gold, Now, work in the oil and gas industry, the sentiment is that oil should sit between $60 and $70 a barrel average. Absolutely, and it seems to be a blip to the upside, but who knows? But again, we're jumping on supply and demand. We have to trade it as a CFD. This is not something I would trade as an underlying asset. And I would 100% agree with you that it should be sitting between $60 to $70 a barrel. But again, we have supply and demand. And at the moment, it is just bonkers what's going on. And the same with natural gas. Anyone who's trading gold? Anyone who is trading gold here? Anyone here heavily trading gold? Put your hands up, yes or no. Pop it in the, anyone traded gold in the last, say month? Only gold, Bitcoins. No. So anyone who's traded gold here, just say yes. I'm pretty sure there are. So anyone here say yes. Don't be shy. I promise I'll be gentle. Promise I'll be gentle. Tyson, don't be lying. You've traded gold in the last month. Don't be lying. Anyone who has been trading gold since anywhere around here, you sort of need your head tested. You need your head tested. Okay, I am happy to say that you need to go and speak to a psychiatrist about what you're doing with your life. Look at it. How on earth is anyone supposed to make money out of the likes of this? Look at it. There's lines everywhere. There's patterns everywhere. You could go, well, there's a left shoulder, there's a head, there's a right shoulder, there's the neckline. When it hits this neckline, it's going to drop. Then it hits the 1800 level, which is the key round number. And then it drops. It comes back down to 1750. Then it jumps back up. Henry's too harsh. No, but again, look at it. What on earth are you doing? Makes no sense to be trading the likes of this. I'll give you an example. Look at, say, look at Nike. Look at that trend. Look, could we have anticipated that? 1,000,000%. Horizontal level. eToro, come on. But 1,000,000% we could have traded that. And with gold, you trade it as a CFD. You could have traded that as a CFD. Look, pinpointed that right there, and it's now taken off. While you're trying to trade a sideways market is absolutely beggar's belief. It makes no sense to me. Now, silver is a little bit different because we've had some nice trend. We've had nice cyclicity. And again, if you traded silver and you took this trade here, you wouldn't have been triggered in. Wouldn't have been triggered in. Wouldn't have been triggered in at all. We've had a nice buying signal on that there. Now, we did talk about it on Tuesday, a break and retest on that trend line. We talked about a break and retest on that. We dropped down to the smaller time frame. Because of what was going on with the likes of US dollar, we talked about a potential break and retest there. Depending on how you entered it, you may have actually got triggered in here and then stopped out, and then the market went up. Okay, if you took the second entry there, stop loss here, then perfect, happy days. But we talked about this being a break and retest off this trend line on the Sunday webinar. But again, it's your trading sentiment. You're looking at dollar. You're looking at dollar weakness. You're looking at the likes of gold strengths, and it gave you a good opportunity there. But in the downward momentum, nope, because dollar is weakness, gold should be stronger, which means that silver also should be stronger. But at the moment, it is not something that we're looking at. Did I say dollar strength? Well, I meant dollar weakness, if I did. I apologize. Copper. So copper is something that we have had an affiliation with the whole way through here. We've had a really nice affiliation with copper the whole way through here, and it has stopped. Okay, it has stopped. It needs to start trending before I am looking at this again. So I have a horizontal level in here. I have a horizontal level right at the top there, and I needed to come back to this level. So that analysis that we did last Tuesday still stands. We need it to hit its head here and then come back down, or break through and then retest here. So for me, it's not something that I am looking to trade at the present moment. It has to either come back down to here or it has to break and retest here. So we have to have some sort of structure behind it. It was sideways, similar to gold, similar to gold. So I stayed away from it through this area. Okay, we took it here. It went up to a 2-to-1, and actually we got stopped out with a loss, and then it took off. Shane, I know you took that trade there. Do you still have it, or did you get rid of it? Someone said, what boot camp? I run boot camps, paid boot camps. They are an 8-week program where I teach people how to trade more advanced, more technical analysis. It's a paid thing, and it happens once a quarter. So it is by application only. So today will be bootcamp number 3 of 8. You took profit on it. Okay, cool, well done. So I need that to come back into this area before I'm looking to trade it. Natural gas, we had a really nice trade on natural gas right here, and it looks like it is coming back into that area again. Looks like it's coming back into that area. Now, not so sure how much more upside we have on the likes of this, but if it comes back to here, I will be happy to take that trade. If it comes back to here, there's a double bottom there, I will be looking to take that trade to the upside, depending on the type of price action we have. If we have a big, huge selling day here, I won't take it. But if we get a nice level here, I will potentially take that to the upside. Okay, so we'll have a potential double bottom, and we're looking for that to run. Okay. Platinum. So platinum is one of the ones that we were looking to trade short term to the downward trend, and anyone who took that trade went on to a really nice winner. Gurmail, did you? I think you took that. Memory serves me right. Entry was there, stop loss was there, and that was 2.4. Now it went down to this low here, which was 5.1. So it almost went down to a 2-to-1. Then look, it almost stopped you out. Anyone have been into this? And then it went down to the whole way down to 11-to-1. So 2.4, that is a 4 points, 4.75 to 1. Okay, if anyone took that. Now it is changed since then. So see the way our analysis changes very quickly. So there was a downward trend. Now what we have is we have a head, left shoulder, right shoulder. This is now the neckline. So look, bounce, bounce, bounce. I'm looking for a retest. Okay, so we're looking for a retest. We're looking for this now to turn. So question would be, is that a valid trade setup now as a buy? So that one right there. Is that a valid setup? So most people across the thing here say yes, it is. Well, look, it depends. It absolutely depends on what your aspect is. Now, for me, this is not a phase 2. For me, this is not a phase 2. If I move this out of the way, this is not a phase 2. I've had 2 bars getting lower, and then this one. Okay, so for me, this is not a phase 2. Is this going to run? Potentially. So it is not a trade setup I would take on the daily chart. So I still need the market to go up and then come back down properly. I still need a proper structure on this. I still need to come down properly. But if I drop down to the 4 hour, okay, so anyone who's done the boot camp should be able to answer this. Now, if I'm not classing this as a phase 2, then this whole movement here is phase 1. Am I early or late in this phase 1? Am I early or late in the phase 1? I'm massively late. So anything outside this high here is late, isn't it? Anything underneath this line is early. Anything above this line is late. Now you also know that you have a pretty decent level here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and this will be the 5th touch on this horizontal level. So you know that that's a pretty decent level. You know that we're late in phase 1, but you also know that people are going to buy off this horizontal level. And the question is then, do you believe that there's enough upside for you to have a winner on this? At that point, then you would drop down to the 4 hour. And if you look at it, there was a beautiful little entry here. You had a doji bar, you had an inside bar, and then you had a low test bar. So it was a really nice entry there on that particular time frame. But is it something we can take now? No, we are too late. We're way too late on this to play this trade right now. So the idea would be the entry will be there and a stop loss will be there. So that would be a CFD. Anyone that took that probably went up to 1.5 to 1. So that there is 0.92. Up to the high was 1.6. So 1 3/4 to 1. If you'd have taken that right now at this moment, you would be just under a 1 to 1 up. James, you didn't post this on the Discord. What's going on? He says sorry. He said, I'm sorry. He said I posted something similar. Oh, touche. Did you take it, Cathy? No. So now we have the likes of this one. We're looking for a break and retest on this. If I grab this, I actually put a trend line across the top here, see how that is interacting. Pretty decent, to be fair. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Also grab this line here, pop it across. How straight is that? How straight are we there? Let me see. Let's go up fraction there. There we go. So we have a pretty decent level there. Bounce, bounce, bounce. And look, it went up, hit its head and dropped. So you had a horizontal level and you had a trend line there together at the same point. For a short. Problem is that is it a great trade? Well, there is. It does look like it looks like a good trade. It looks like a decent risk to reward as well on this. But I'm just not convinced by it, if that makes sense. I'm just not convinced by it. We have platinum, we've palladium, we've copper, we've silver, we've gold, all going up. And this one is dropping. So I'm not convinced that this is going to continue dropping. So 8% down to this low would be 11. So if it hit this floor here, you'd have a 1 to 1. Okay, so I wouldn't necessarily be looking at this as a short, because all the other metals seem to be up. But again, I'd sort of be looking at this as a buy if it breaks and retests this level. If it broke and retests the upside, I'll be looking to take it. But again, trade what you see, and there is a decent trade to the downside on that. I'll quickly run through the other two, the other three, four. Okay, so we have sugar. Sugar is now coming back down to this level. It's come back down to this trend line. It's 1, 2. We'll have 3 touches at this particular point. This should be a buy at that particular point. Something to note is that we have a ceiling here as well. So be aware that if you're looking to trade this, you at least want to have a 1-to-1 banked before that high. You may want to par close and let the rest of it run if you think it's going to break it, but I would definitely be getting a 1-to-1 out if I buy that before that ceiling. Cotton chart. Cotton is just flew. This is, I know this is a trade that some of you guys took. Anyone that took that, you had an absolute flyer, and it's still flying. Anyone that took it, well done. Really, really good trade. 1.6 and up to the high here was 28. Okay, so doing very basic math, that's a 14-to-1. Well done. Well done if anyone took it. Coca, again, Coca has to come back to this level, and if it comes back to here, then we can potentially take it. Wow, Tyson kind of trade. Comes back to here. What I want to know is how many of those has Tyson taken that didn't go to a 14-to-1. Okay, so we've done I already, and we've done that. So he doesn't post them; he keeps them onto himself. So for me, it has to come back to here. It's pretty flat. It wouldn't be high on the to-do list, but anyone who is on the likes of YouTube, if you're on YouTube, click on the subscribe button. If you are interested in jumping in on any of the free content I have, reach out to me on Discord. I have my Discord link there as well. Jump in, message me directly, and I will answer any questions you have. And this is the type of trading that I do. And you can see that once it sets up, all I have to do there is see the chart when it sets up. And if it sets up, then we take the trade, whether it's underlying or whether it's a CFD. And like I said here, I will only ever take a CFD trade when the likes of the index is on our, I'll put in the NASDAQ. So once the index is playing ball. So if I look at this at the moment, for me, this is now the beginning of the next bull run. So which means now I will now trade openly CFDs on stocks. So as this is coming down, as you know, I put a ban on anyone placing any CFDs on any of these stocks once this was coming down. Now that this is running, we're early phase 1. Now I will happily trade CFDs anywhere on stocks from now up to when the NASDAQ hits this point. All right. Is the link for today and Sunday's webinar. So today is a free one, TJ. So this will be on YouTube. So that link will go in all the free chats. The one on Sunday, that won't be, that link is actually in my paid Discord channel. Okay. So if you need help with anything, TJ, just are you on Discord? Yes. Reach out to me on Discord and I'll have a chat to you, okay? Look, everyone, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. Hope you have a lovely evening, and don't forget to click share and like on YouTube. Thanks, everyone. Hope you have a lovely day. Bye-bye.